Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom, serving in some of the harshest situations to secure that freedom across the globe. This is the Lounge with Legends show, celebrating their transformation from battlefield to business. The Lounge with Legends show with Marty the Moac Martinez and James A. Phelps, a.k.a. Spartan 6.
We're live.
I can't believe you didn't mess that up. What happened? You did it right that time.
It's almost been 2 years. I'm finally getting things right. I was known as Strong Ranger, not Smart Ranger. But this is a really good week for me. The kids are back in school. That's telling you.
That's terrible.
I'm like, bye, Felicia. So excited. The kids are going back at school. Army 10 miler training is going slowly. I kind of jacked up my knee a little, but that's okay. Going to get there. I heard you're entering now the Marine Corps Marathon in November. Good for you.
Who is?
You.
Maybe if we could get our legend today to enter, maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. What's going on with you, brother? Your kids back in school?
They actually started last week, so my good week started last week. But yes, they're back at school. I'm excited but sad at the same time, and I'm glad that Nick can throw you a bone there. Good job, Marty. I'm very proud of you, man.
Not to screw it up, Marty. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. We want to know where are you guys tuning in from? We got more and more viewers coming in from everywhere. I want to know where you guys are tuning in from. Hey, don't forget, tomorrow we do have our story brand coaching, and it's absolutely free. No cost to you. I'm not emailing this out, but what this is, if you're a veteran entrepreneur, small business owner, and you're kind of like all of us, a little bit, what's going on with the recession or economic downturn, and you want to actually grow your business, tune in tomorrow or register for tomorrow's training at go.jtf214. And you get free 90 minutes with us and with the Story Brand team. You're going to have Donald Miller. He's going to do the first half, and then James and I will talk about that. We're going to talk about branding and how to grow your small business during this recession. And it's going to be good training. I think it's very timely. And then next month, we're actually not doing training because we're doing 2 days of Story Brand coaching. So it's going to be good. Huh?
Did you sign me up for that already?
I signed myself up for it, but
Oh man. Okay.
hey, I'm excited for our guest this week. We're bringing on BunkerLabs. We talk about BunkerLabs all the time. They're really great. I'm just saying there are a lot of things that they've done for us. I know James and I have been in the program, but what I want to do real quick, what, James?
No, I was going to say, before he comes on, I'm going to have to ask him the question: which cohort is better, Raleigh, North Carolina, or Washington D.C.? We're gonna settle that battle before this is all done today.
Before we get to that, I want to kind of share this because some people still don't know what BunkerLabs is and the great things they're doing. So I'm going to run this real quick.
Welcome to BunkerLabs. BunkerLabs exists to close the ecosystem access gap for military-connected entrepreneurs. Our mission is to ensure that the military-connected community has the network, tools, and opportunities they need to start successful ventures. And we recognize that this starts with community. So how do we do this? By providing an array of programs that connect, equip, and inspire entrepreneurs, regardless of where they are on their journeys. Many community members start with Launch Lab Online, an educational platform for aspiring entrepreneurs. For those who are getting their businesses off the ground, Veterans in Residence is a 6-month business incubator, providing community resources, co-working space, and mentorship for entrepreneurs seeking to launch and scale their businesses. CEO Circle serves founders and other C-suite executives looking for a mastermind group for personal and professional development. And along the way, Bunker Brews and Bunker Connect events continue our mission to inspire, equip, and connect the military-connected community.
How awesome is that?
Man, it's amazing. And, just to be, in a community that supports one another and so uplifting is amazing. So that's really what it's about.
So, sorry.
Okay, too soon. You already messed up.
So what I want to do is let's bring on Blake Hogan, our legend this week. And let me show him some love here. We're bringing on this guy. No cowboy hat though. I'm kind of sad, but let's bring him on. Are you ready, brother?
Let's do it. Let's go.
I'm not even going to mention it. At this point, I'm not even going to mention it. What's going on, Blake?
What's up, y'all? All right, well, to answer, so two things. One, whoever did your hype videos should redo our video because it's like 10, and then the music on ours is like it's like a 3. So
we do all that in-house.
Like a computer generated voice. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you should come to here. So to answer DC or Raleigh, that is an easy, like hands down answer on which takes the cake. And the winner is Columbus, Ohio.
Oh,
God.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Find out 2024. Let's see. I haven't made any announcements yet. What's up, guys? Okay, I'm excited for the Donald Miller thing. I grabbed both of my story brand books. So, Don, if you're listening, I haven't collected an affiliate fee, and I think I've sold about 10,000 copies. So,
if you need an affiliate link, I just know 2 guys. Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm a zealot. Like, I just believe it. I believe in entrepreneurship. So whatever's going to move the needle, I'm all about it. So, thanks for having me, guys. This is pretty cool. I'm a little disappointed there's no lion. I was promised a live lion.
It's coming.
Okay.
It's on the way to Ohio, apparently.
Columbus, Ohio. Sure.
But no,
I'll let Tarika and AJ, our ambassadors there, know.
No, we've been talking a lot about BunkerLabs. I mean, I learned about BunkerLabs at MIC DC. I was like, what's all this orange and black over here?
Right.
That was in 2019 over at the.
We also throw Halloween festivals.
Yes. But that's kind of how I got into Launch Lab Online, and then I was in the 22 Alpha VIR Veteran Residence, and then James right behind. So in the second best cohort, but So,
well, if you're going to say he said Ohio was the best, so that would make Raleigh the second best, then DC would be third place.
Whatever. But what you guys are doing amazing. But I know you just didn't hop right into BunkerLabs and be a C-suite. I mean, where did it all start? Kind of what was your call to serve? How did you get started?
Yeah. So real quick on that awesome video, I want to just like give people a summary, right? So our whole mission is to rally the top business leaders in this country and connect them with veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs. And we do that in 3 ways. So veterans and residents, so you can fight over which one is the best. But the idea is simple: get 8 to 10 entrepreneurs in a room and surround them with customers, coaches, capital, connections, basically anything that starts with a C, and connect them in that community. And we do that with our ambassadors. So our ambassadors, it's a 12-month fellowship program for people that want to be entrepreneurial ecosystem builders in their communities. And then we have our CEO circle, which is our companies that are 1 to 5 million and 5 million and above. So if you're thinking about Bunker, veterans and residents is your early stage. That's in 35 cities right now, 316 entrepreneurs in the current 22 Bravo cohort. They meet every week in WeWork across the country. WeWork's been an incredible partner in that. CEO Circle is all about people that are trying to grow it and scale. That's a major partnership with JP Morgan Chase and their commercial bank. That's all about like, it's off the record. There's no press. It's small groups of CEOs. They come together quarterly in person. And then we bring in top leaders like, Secretary Gates and Jamie Dimon. And it's like, it's 41 CEOs, those folks. And they're just in it saying, this is the challenge. These are the opportunities. And then the ambassadors, that is like my big vision. That's our entrepreneur core in this country. So if, to get to your next question of like being called to serve, if you're called to serve in your community and you believe entrepreneurship is the way to uplift our economy, and uplift and create, real change, and, generational wealth and jobs and all the good things that come along with it. We want great leaders to become ambassadors. So how did I get involved? I'll start with a really short story. When I was 9 years old, I told my mom I was going to be an officer in the Marine Corps. And August 8th, 2008, I got commissioned. And actually my old man who gave me this sweet Ben Hogan golf bag was my first salute. And he's a corporal and, kind of brought this very dysfunctional family together. I hadn't talked to him in years, and Marine Corps me going into the Marines sort of sobered him up. And I thought I was going to go be, I thought I was going to be an infantry officer. I was going to do what, I was going to take the fight to the enemy. And I got commissioned, went over to the basic school. And then I effectively started the lamest career in Marine Corps history from there forward. And busted my hip and foot in training. I don't have a cool story. I didn't, fall off of a truck or, fast rope out of a helo or anything cool like that. My body just was like, hey, this is not working. Took him, almost 3.5 years and 5 different diagnoses to do surgery and rehab and a med board. And so I spent 4 years in Washington, D.C. trying to serve the Marine Corps. And when I ultimately was, got a med board, medically retired, it was like a just devastating moment. Like I just was leaving the Marine Corps with my tail between my legs and feeling like I hadn't done my job. And I spent a lot of time like signing, my buddy's orders to go fight. And so I just sort of said, look, like I couldn't control that. I need to figure out how to make an impact. Went to work for a small privately held company, helped them get acquired, ended up in Austin, Texas. And I got a phone call from Todd Connor. My brother and his brother knew each other in Chicago randomly. They went to church together, actually. Todd calls me up. He's a founder, a Navy guy. And he says, hey, we're going to start the next greatest generation. Are you in or are you out? And like any good Marine, I immediately said yes. And I asked 0 clarifying question. And then he's like, great, we're going to start a nonprofit. And I was like, oh, that's a terrible idea. Like I grew up poor. Like, I don't know. Why would we do that? He's like, just trust me. We want to help people start and grow their businesses. Our networks suck leaving the military. We need capital. We need connections. Let's do that. So partnered with Joseph Kopser and Craig Cummings from Ride Scout and Jonathan and Serena Watwitz in Austin. And we, planted a flag and said, let's help entrepreneurs. And that was 2014, 2015, before there was any plan or any budget. And then we moved to Nashville. My wife had the opportunity to teach and to do her PhD. And I said, okay, I closed a really terrible tech startup I had in Austin. It was like a really great lesson on how to have a terrible partnership and lose a lot of money. And moved here and said, okay, great. I'm going to volunteer. I'll set this up 6 months, 12 months, and then I'll go start a plan to buy small businesses from retiring business owners. And Bunker just continued to grow. And I realized that this was where my heart is. And this is where I believe that I can make an impact. And eventually I'll get back to buying small businesses. But yeah, so I had the opportunity to sit in just about every seat in the organization. And then just, before the pandemic, I took over. And, as I like to give Todd a hard time, our founder, I said, so March 5th of 2020, I was voted in by the board as CEO. I thought I was just going to go around the country and cut ribbons and shake hands and, welcome all the new chapters. And 2019, we did 200 live events with 20,000 people. And then, 2 weeks later, the world shut down. So as I say it, when shit got hard, the Navy guy put it in the Marines and to right the ship. And then as he says it, literally the world was fine. I left, Blake came in, and the world fell apart. So you can choose whichever one. Clearly, my story is much more accurate.
That is awesome. I've never heard that one. No, that's pretty great. I mean, understanding the how everything just stopped in March of 20. I mean, that's literally I don't know if I've told you, Blake, but I was still in the Army, and then I told everybody, hey, on the 17th is when I'm actually going to just not come back in the office and start my transition. And that was our first day where we just shut everything down here in DOD. And I was like, well, I just picked a really crappy day to start transitioning and retiring from the military. Couldn't get a hold of anybody. We were more concerned with having toilet paper than anything else. It was bad. And then I was homeschooling now.
Yeah, well, just like you, Blake, my version of the story is March 17th is a beautiful day because that's my birthday. So it was great. Yeah, it's a great day. So that's great.
Well, but James famously was, no, I'm not going to go there.
But, thank you.
But no, I mean, but I love that, that you have said that your first business didn't work out, which is a huge lesson that they're not all going to be out of the park, but we take our lessons and apply it in the future, in our future businesses. And I think that's one of the biggest things with entrepreneurs, where a lot of people are, I won't say delusional, but kind of, it's all going to work out. I have the plan. And that's what we're talking about. Planning is everything. The plan is nothing. And we even had that with one of our companies where we thought we had a solid team. And the next thing I know, well, James and I are still here, but the others are gone. And so
never to be seen from again.
Well, I mean, Blake, you mentioned, about your military service, and we do run into some folks that, I think everyone struggles sometimes with, I think I could have done more. And then, that's kind of the same, story I tell myself. I look back at my military career and it's like, I could have done more. And that's why, but I think that same thing is what gave you the passion to do what you're doing now, because the lives that you're affecting now, I don't want to stroke your ego, but honestly, the lives that you're affecting now is probably even more of an impact that you would have ever had in the continuing service in the Marine Corps. So just being, transparent and honest with you. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like I'm definitely there now. It took a while to get there. But first, I just believe everything happens for a reason. And, God had a different plan for me. I would. And I think I fundamentally believe that entrepreneurship is like the ticket to, uplifting societies. And we have, the pandemic gave us, the opportunity to shift the model into really focused energy, right? The idea here is very simple, right? We want to get 8 to 10 people in a room and get top leaders around them so they can solve 2 problems: connections and capital. And if we have those things, you'll be successful, or at least you'll move, forward. And so, we still got a lot of work to do to have that world-class high value proposition that I believe we're capable of doing. But we're moving in the right direction. And the more the world changes, the more we have these like massive challenges, the more we stay laser focused on like, we're going to do these 3 things. We're going to do veterans and residents, we're going to do CEO Circle, and we're going to do ambassadors. And then on top of that, we're going to bring in, the online community with Bunker Online, and then our Breaking Barriers and Entrepreneurship Workshop series that, it sits at the top of what we do. Right. So, the idea, I've got some like very big stuff in the works for, hopefully we'll be announcing it in November, Q4, Q1, to just activate this country around this next generation of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no, and you're definitely providing the right platforms for it. Like I said, I did Launch Lab Online, then I did Veterans and Residents, and as you know, we're story brand guides, and it just the 2 actually complement each other, because as
100%.
you guys are really good at helping, whether it's Launch Lab Online or the VIR, turning ideas into action. Yep. And I think that's what the ambassadors provide, and it provides an accountability partner. Every week, every Friday, we come together, and it's, here's what I'm working on. Here's what's working. If I'm being honest, we have the questions and we're sharing it with our group. And to borrow from Donald Miller, it really helps you become relentlessly optimistic, because you do have these people that are there. And, while Donald Miller talks about seeing yourself as an economic product, where we get to play with that and work with it within BunkerLabs is, how do you communicate that? Yep. How do you, as an entrepreneur, how do you communicate your value and your worth? And it's because of, the different programs you have that really do help the veteran entrepreneur, the military family members that want to be entrepreneurs do that. And it's a judge-free zone, and I really appreciate it,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the cool thing about this community is you're surrounded by people who no kidding want to see you be successful, and are willing to push you and do that in, like a positive solutions oriented way, right? You just like, you don't have to show up with airs on, right? You can show up with, this is what I'm trying to do. Who can help me? Yeah.
No, and that's great. And then you're always doing the shout outs to your fellow members. And then, James is, we're playing back and forth between Raleigh and DC, but it's kind of like the sibling service rivalry. We talk.
You're like, the Marines are best, and then there's everybody else.
Right. That's the delusional story that the Marines tell. Yep. But but it's great, because then you get to see, oh man, Raleigh's doing this. This is kind of cool. Or DC is doing that. But I think that's why you guys are so successful and have so many great partnerships, like with WeWork and obviously JP Morgan Chase, because it really comes through with the mission. So congrats to you and Blake and all the team, because it's absolutely amazing. I wouldn't still be contributing as much and promoting and always drinking, the cup on the show and stuff if we didn't believe in it.
Get that orange Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just, the thing that I like too, Blake, that I think that you do a great job, of course, the leadership for your team, because you got an amazing team. You have Reggie, Joe, Shelby, and, just a bunch of folks that I've been able to meet. The thing that I thought was very interesting is you're real, you're authentic, and you're real. And the reason why I knew you're real is Marty and I, we showed up, we crashed your Nashville event, and then next thing we know, we were at a barbecue place. Forgive me, I don't remember the name of the barbecue. I know it's famous, but we were at a barbecue place, and we walked up. Marty walked up to you and introduced himself. Next thing I know, we're at a event the next day, a networking event in Nashville, and you invited us with open arms, and that's what really resonated with me. I was like, look, this guy's real. He's not fake. He's authentic. And that's what it's really about, I said, he does wear a cowboy hat.
Right. Yeah. 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 I mean, look, that's at the end of the day, that's what this is about. I remember when Todd started this thing, he said, look, he had gone to Northwestern, he joined the Navy, came back, went to Chicago. So his whole network was in Chicago. So when he would call somebody, 9 times out of 10, it was 1-2 phone calls away. And really, that thing is all about, right? It's just, we don't need to be the one that gets credit. We don't even need to be the one that does the work. But if we can engineer the environment where people are connecting, then that's when, like, you've got this sort of like exponential impact. And and you never know, like, who's going to meet. So, and look, if we wouldn't have had like thunderstorms and tornadoes, you would have been like rooftop in Nashville with hit songwriters. So
that's right.
But thanks to Creative Vets, who's a Marine, Richard Casper, and Operation Stand Down in Nashville, we were able to put on a good show even in bad weather.
Even if we were able to go and join each other at Old Reds at Blake Shelton's place. That's what
we're doing that, by the way. We got a new date for it. We're back. Blake will be there.
We'll be there.
This time, hopefully, we can get an invite. And we're not crashing the party, though.
Hey, look, you're always invited.
Yeah. So when because you've worked with so many entrepreneurs and you're seeing it, what are like the number one, top 2 struggles that you see that are like kind of easy to overcome, but they're just maybe in their own way, or they don't realize that there's resources out there? Because there's a lot of people that do have those ideas. Like I said, we work with a lot of people that still come in there at the Post-it note level.
Yeah.
But they don't really, maybe they're in their own way. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Look, so, the 2 problems we're trying to solve, which are, the access, the right connections, right? So social capital and knowledge capital and capital, right? Like those are the 2 things that every entrepreneur struggles with. And, the capital thing, I think, so there's one of the things that we're continuing to do, and there's a really great podcast from Mike Stedman, Iron Mike, on the Transition podcast about getting your first 10 customers. And I think a lot of companies in veterans and residents will, the first go-to is like, I got to go raise venture capital. And Shark Tank, I think, has done some really great things for entrepreneurship in this country to like sort of put that on display in a big way. It's also made people think like, oh yeah, just like I go and tell somebody and they give me money. And I think what's, a big part of what we're trying to do at Bunker is kind of 2 things. One is like provide the space for you to have some of that introspective thought about what do you really want to do? Like what kind of lifestyle do you want? Right. Do you, I think about, as we're talking about kind of Raleigh and North Carolina, right? So Deshaun Russell, with Southern Elegance Candle Company, right? She was like, I want to eclipse Yankee Candle Company and have $1 billion brand, right? I think of, my friend here in Tennessee, she started a mobile goat mowing company, which I thought was a joke at first. And it's like, it's you put in goats where you can't get equipment and they pay you, right? And she's like, look, I want to be able to do this full time, retired from the Army. And like, that's her jam. Right. And she's couldn't be happier doing that. Right. And so I think it's giving people the space, number one, to understand what do they want? What does success look like for them? But then helping people see what that is. And so that's what I love about Mike's podcast of like, look, most of the time you don't need capital, you need customers. Right. And so can you just focus on that? Like, you don't need a fancy website. You don't need a brand. You don't need all these things. Like, you need customers. And then I'll say is like, so we had the failure of the business in Austin. And then just recently I sold our company BreakAway Safety Solutions, which was these large emergency exits that we built for outdoor events. And we did raise money for that, and we did have to grow that, and we did have to pay for manufacturing. And even with the relationships that I have, like, that wasn't easy. It wasn't just like, oh, great. Yeah. Like, here we go. Here's money. Go do it. Right. So, that's hard. Right. And anything we can do to try to make that a little bit, that journey a little bit easier. We want to be able to do that.
Yeah. I think that's fair. That's because people don't know what they don't know what they don't know, but then having the community, like you're saying, just the opportunities to be able to have that is awesome. And it's very competitive to get into the VAR. So I've heard some people trying 4 different times and then they're finally in the course. or in the cohort. So
yeah, I mean, look, that's something we'd like to fix. Like there's not an intention for it to be, hey, we accepted 3% of like it is not Y Combinator, it's not Harvard, Stanford. But in simple sort of small business terms, like our growth is outpacing our ability to scale right now, and so we're dealing with those internal challenges, right? Like, how do we hire? How do we bring people on? How do we make sure that we can be ready to do that? Veterans and residents grew from 23 locations to 35 locations, from 22 Alpha to 22 Bravo. So just in this last year, over 100 new participants, which is 100 new companies and 100 new challenges. So so we're in it as well, and want to make sure that we are putting out a great product and continuing to make it better.
But the selection process is it's also pretty good, because I think that's why in DC we had like 100% show up rates, or at least accountability. If I couldn't make it, I would tell Joe Heppelman of Assault Forward and Gary Odom, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. I've got this. Okay. So we know where we're at. And it's because you guys have done a great job of saying these are the people that are here to play. They're ready to show up on purpose with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so
DC is moving up in that ranking there.
But no, I mean, it really is. So what do you have, James?
No, I don't have anything for that. You got me on that one. But, we've got a great ambassador down here, Nacella Love. She's crushing it down here for us right now. And we just, it's about, if you're in town, Blake, you can stop by. We'll be at the WeWorks tomorrow night having a pregame celebration for our, that's going to happen in December timeframe. So, we're just setting the conditions. And you said it during your message, you got to have the right conditions. Sometimes you got to set them, right? And failure is a part of setting the conditions. So that's why I think it's perfect that you shared your message, because we came from the military. We think that we cannot fail. Well, guess what? You're going to fail.
Yep.
Yeah. What I want to do is let's cut to commercial, but when we come back, I want to talk more about you as an entrepreneur and your journey, because that's really what's fascinating. Because a lot of times you hear from C-suites, but you never really get to hear about how your different businesses that you've had, and kind of, everything's hunky dory. You never failed. You never had those moments where, what, I'm going to go work at a freaking 7-Eleven because it's got to be easier than this. But I want to talk about that after that, if you're okay with that, Blake.
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right, let's cut to commercial. We'll be right back.
You're watching the Lounge with Legends TV show with your hosts, Marty Martinez and James A. Feltz.
Hey, so if you're just tuning in, I'm getting James's ugly mug off the big screen. And we're here with Blake Hogan, CEO of BunkerLabs. So far, we've talked about his service in the Marine Corps, a lot about BunkerLabs. But what we're going to talk about now is his journey as an entrepreneur, because everything was hunky dory. He never had any struggles. He never, it was all perfect, right? So
yeah, no, great. Yeah, that's right. We could just,
before we start, Blake, you asked about a lion. I just got to make sure that I deliver on our word, because you've got to be impeccable with your word. So it did appear on the episode. So there you go.
You're supposed to be in his office, but
I don't know what that is, but that doesn't look like a lion.
That doesn't look like a lion.
Maybe
like
that's like a liger, maybe.
Oh, God. I knew the guys from Mexico were selling me something that wasn't real. Dang it!
Oh man, that looks South Korean to me. But let's talk about your journey, Blake. You said at 9 years old you knew you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Where to go from there? Lemonade stands,
Yeah, I mean, look, our first racket was my buddy Ryan Lynch and I. He grew up 3 doors down from me. He's a single dad. I had a single mom. We always hoped they'd get married and we could get bunk beds and have more room for activities. So if anybody gets that movie quote, put that into the chat. But we used to, they had the like blue recycling bins, and you had to put, cans in one bag and newspapers in the other. And so we would go on the recycling day. We'd take a wagon around, and we would just take everybody's cans out because they're out on the street. So we just take them out. And then his dad would give us a ride to the recycling place, and then we'd get the money for it. And so it's 100% markup. And all you had to do was go around and pick them up. And then we had a couple of neighbors complaining about it. And so, that ended that for a while. But that was a high margin, low labor business. But in college, I paid my, yes, there it is. Step Brothers. So many, that's a classic, American classic right there. In college, I did a little retail arbitrage. There was a website called Steep and Cheap and Whiskey Militia. And I would buy ski goggles and backpacks, and sometimes watches. And then I'd resell them on eBay. And so that's how I paid my rent in college. And then I got out of the Marine Corps, started this video interviewing company, which was not a success for lots of different reasons. The super like tactical one is like customer discovery prior to building software, right? Like we could have tested the platform, we could have tested the idea with $0, right? We could have done it with FaceTime and a power and a slide deck, right? So that would have saved us 6 figures plus. But I felt like I had to have that beautiful product before we went out in the marketplace. And so kind of the exact opposite here in Nashville. We started this, honestly didn't even really start as a company. So sadly, after the shooting happened in Las Vegas at the country concert there, being in Nashville, we are, the host of the Country Music Association Festival. And it's this massive, 100,000, couple 100,000 festival. And the head of the security team, or one of them, I should say, was a bunker company. And he was a former Green Beret. And he said, look, we got to figure out how to make Nashville safer for this upcoming event. So they got a bunch of people together and said, all right, let's get counter snipers. Let's get blimps made out of Kevlar. Let's get all these things. And, the Marine in me was like, well, why don't we just put up a bunch of exits, make it really easy for people to get out? And so CMA said, well, can you build it? I said, no, I don't know how to build anything. They said, well, figure it out. So we did. And what we did, well, we couldn't fake anything, right? We knew a little bit about security, right? But we didn't know anything about manufacturing. We didn't know anything about the music industry. We didn't know about subcontracting. We didn't know so we were just totally honest. We said, okay, well, how big do you need it to be? Do you need it to fit on a pickup truck or a semi truck? Do you want one person, two people to set it up? How do you want to pay for it? How much do you want to pay for it? What keeps you up at night? And so we just were flooded with people that were just trying to help, right? And so we built it, got it built for CMA Fest, I think 2018, 2019, maybe, I think 18. And they ended up having a lightning strike, and we got 25,000 people out in a matter of a couple minutes. And the next thing we know, people started asking for it. So we licensed the product to other contractors in Chicago and then locally, and then did things like the Chicago Marathon and other major events. And we ultimately ended up having a patent pending product. We protected over 2 million people. We helped evacuate over 250,000 people. Thank God none of it was for an active shooter event. They were all due to weather. And then we were able, and the pandemic hit, right? And we're like, well, shit, what do we do now? So, got everything out of storage. We found a buddy that had a warehouse, and we're like, look, we'll buy you some beer. Can we leave this here for a while? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And then as, things started to tick back up, we stayed in it. And one of the local contractors who had been an amazing partner from the beginning, we had talked for, years, saying, hey, we'd love for, you to consider buying this thing. And it's the time it was right, and sold it. And now it's great because the product is still out, and we just did the Grand Prix. Well, they did it, right? I didn't do anything. So I still get to go to all these awesome events, but now I don't have to, haul the, the truck and the trailer and set everything up, because, we were the ones doing the work.
Right.
But yeah, so that was a great lesson. And just like, we just 100% listened to the customer, right? Because we couldn't fake it. There was no faking it. And it was a thing that was really personal to us, right? We wanted to protect our city. And ended up being a successful story. And so now I get to, put one in the wing column and say, hey, we built something, we grew it, we sold it. And so, I'm at 500. Right? There's lots of other losses in there as well from other, failed ventures.
That's a great example. I mean, that just shows the fact you identified a problem and then solved that problem. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we do it backwards as entrepreneurs. We create the product and then we go try to find the problem. So I think you did a
when I was in Austin, even before that tech company, I had one of my really great buddies from college. We were down there, and I actually still kind of like the idea. But the company was called HubYub, HUBYUB, right? And it was a marketplace for entrepreneurs to buy, borrow, barter goods and services from each other. The idea was, Craigslist, but with a, sort of an industry focus. Problem was, both of us were visionaries, and neither of us knew how to code or develop anything. So we'd have these great whiteboard sessions and these great decks and this great brain. I mean, we had this whole like HubYub Nation, and you can become a Yubber, and you can get Yub bucks, and all of this stuff, and like no customers and no product. And I'm not sure we were actually solving a problem, right? Because you could go to Facebook Marketplace, you could do all these other things. So it didn't end in a fist fight, but it got pretty close to it. Glad to say we're still great buds now, but that was that one tested the friendship. And I don't know. We could upvote or downvote that if people thought that's a good idea. Maybe we'll bring it back out of resurgence. So. And then now I'm focused on small businesses, right? So I like to say I'm an intern for John Mahoney, who started Change of Command, where he's focused on buying businesses from retiring business owners here in Tennessee. And ultimately, I'd love to spend more time doing that after we see Bunker grow on a national scale. So right now I get to intern with him and help him out, but that's kind of a long-term path for me. Is I believe in small business owners, and we've got almost half of our small businesses in this country are at retirement age, and who better than first of all, a lot of them don't have a plan. So if they go away, they're talking about just like jobs, local communities, et cetera, that just like lose that asset. And I would love nothing more than to recruit tons of veteran leaders to come in and take over these businesses and work there and contribute to the growth of these companies, but also the communities.
Blake, it's your story with the BreakAway Solutions is this week. James just sent me a picture of a pencil that was broken, and then what do you do with it? And I went and posted perhaps a soliloquy from the book Scrappy, right? This book here. I don't know if you've read this one, but your story and then it all just kind of resonates, because what Terry's talking about in her book is, hey, the right way doesn't always work out, but with limited resources, you can still implement an effective idea by being scrappy, by figuring out, brainstorm it, scrappy solutions to hard problems, pick a resolution, create a plan of attack, and make it work. Execute your plan, stay classy. How do you do that? You just basically saying, but now proving that it actually works, because that's what you did. You listened to the client, you figured out what it was, that hard problem. And okay, here, what are we going to do? We got to brainstorm this. And then with your other company, it sounds like it was a lesson learned. James and I were in that exact same pickle when we first started. I would say JTF 214 1.0, where we had some great ideas that we fell in love with. Don't get enamored with your product or service. We did. We fell in love with it. And then we were like, dude, now we're competing with all the nonprofits and we're never going to win. We're in red ocean. And so we had to reinvent ourselves and what we were doing. So now JTF 214 2.0, we're actually helping people, find out lead generation. That's why we're the lead gen generals. We tell people, hey, people come to your website each and every day. Who are they? How do you reach out to them? You don't know. We do, and we can help you with that. So that's how we've just reinvented ourselves. So
I love it. Yeah, and you guys are doing some awesome stuff on the story brand side. So, you've got a special guest on the show.
So tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to be, Donald Miller will be doing, we're going to tie into their network. And then what we do is we bring on every single month. We do this with Donald Miller and the team, and they give a block of instruction. Like we did, small business finances, how to, top 5 thing your website needs, how to create all this stuff. This one's focused specifically on the recession and how to grow, not how to survive, but how to survive and thrive. And then what we do is people go to our website, go.jtf214, and then we work with them one-on-one. We typically have about 10 people in the room, and then we can field questions. And by the time they're done, they have a plan that they can work with, whether it's, like last month, create lead generating assets, sales scripts that close, et cetera. And that's our give back to the veteran community, to military spouses, family members, or just small business owners that want to dial in.
Well, I love everything about this story brand model. It's super straightforward. So, for those of you that are thinking, on the edge of, do I do it? It's worth it, worth every penny. So, I listened to every podcast and read every book before we ended up finally going and hiring the team to come in and do it. And I said, why did we wait so long to do that?
It makes sense. We're doing that right now with a client, and once we just took their words and put it back, but in a story brand format, they were like, this is great. So as a matter of fact, James and I will be in Nashville the second week of October with story brand. So we'll be up there. We'll give you a shot when we get up there.
All right. Yeah. Come on.
I got to ask the important question. You all are talking about books, making me like, oh man, Blake, when are you writing your book? I want to get a hand on your copy of your story. When you writing your story so we can get it out there and share.
Yeah, I'm still learning to read. So once I get that done,
I think you should. You got an amazing story that would inspire others. It really is. If you think about it, you're sitting there, it's hardest to write your own biography, but an outsider looking in, I'm telling you, it'd be amazing to get a copy of that book.
So what I will do, and I'll see if I can find the link. I'll put a shameless plug in for another Hogan who just wrote his book, and that's my brother. My brother who put, Todd and I together, he's incredible creative. You can go to Amazon just search Blaine Hogan. And he's got a film production company. He's an artist, creative, and he put this incredible book together, and you can pre-order it now on Amazon. So I'll put that plug in for my older little bro.
Does he at least reference you in the book?
Probably not. He's like 5'7", $130, and an actor, an artist guy, and I'm like 6'2", more than 130, and so I give him a hard time for like the most dangerous thing he ever did was for pretend, they lived in Chicago and they moved down here during the pandemic. So we got to spend almost 18 months, to 2 years as neighbors, and they just moved down to Atlanta. And so, I'm a huge fan of, what he does. We are very, very different in a lot of ways, but very similar in our, relentless pursuit and the things that we want to accomplish. So I couldn't be more proud of him and what he's doing. And he's a successful entrepreneur and putting out some pretty cool work into the world.
Awesome. Let me ask you, since we're on books, what number one business book you find yourself constantly referencing?
I've been reading not business books for a while now. I just finished John McCain's The Luckiest Man book. So it's his aide who's been with him for 20, 30 years, and it's like pretty, it's a big book, a lot more like policy. So I'm spending more time reading about figures in history and how they've, played a role in our country. So I think there are a lot of gurus out there, and I can't stand gurus. Like I think now that I like, Donald Miller, what I love about what they do is it's actually just like real actionable stuff, right? It's not fluff, it's not whatever. And he's not putting on some air and, like Gary Vee and all those guys. Like, look, I think it's great, but like, that's just not me. It's not how I'm hardwired. And so, I need to make sure I got 3 little kids, and I need to create like the slightest bit of space in my brain to think. So, but I'm much more into reading biographies. I'm reading a book right now. Actually, Todd Connor recommended it. It's called From Strength to Strength. In the the idea is, Todd is way older and than I am. Like, he's super old. So he's, looking at like the second half of his life, and I'm still very much in the first half, but it's a great book for thinking of like, the general premise is, you get by when you're young, which is like grit and energy. And then you can grow and excel with experience and wisdom. And they actually talk about sort of the peak performance of somebody that's a PhD is 39.7 years into their career, right? So you think about like an attorney or somebody that's been like, practicing their craft for years and years and years, that the older they get, they actually like, it's really sort of work smarter, but it's about how do you leverage those things? How do you age well? How do you do that? And so, so those are things that are more on Todd's mind than mine because I'm so young, but that's a great book. I got a big stack of books. The other one is, I haven't cracked it yet, but I'm excited to read it. And, it's a book by Andy Stanley. He's a preacher in Atlanta, North Point Church. And the book title is Not In It to Win It. And how the church, by choosing certain sides, therefore alienates one side or the other. And I think that as service members and as entrepreneurs, we have an obligation to this country because we get to we have this unique middle ground that doesn't exist in a lot of places in our country right now. And I was at a dinner in DC with our veterans and residents, and it was an incredible, like, if you were trying to like make this like diverse group of like, if it were a political ad and you were like trying to check all the boxes, right? Like, they were all checked, and they were like, the backgrounds were so varied as you could imagine. And the conversation was so rich and real about real challenges in this country. But they were coming at from a place of like trust and respect and grace for each other. And so I think we have this like unique Trojan horse where entrepreneurship and service brings people together that maybe otherwise wouldn't be right now if they were just in a comment section on a website. And I think that's such a powerful tool that we can play, because I'm going to steal the term relentless optimist, because I absolutely am. And I believe the future of our country and our world is bright, but it's bright because there are people that are willing to do the work, and willing to say, hey, I might be wrong on this, or I disagree with you on these 3 things, but I want to see you grow. And I think, so that's kind of where I'm at from, what I'm trying to read right now. And if I'm honest, I'm reading, 10 pages and then just absolutely passing out because I got 2 little kids. So.
Oh, yeah. No, that's great though. I mean, like you said, and those conversations and that diversity, that's what you get in the DC cohort. So it's amazing. But hey, we're actually going to turn it over to our Freedom Means moment. And I'm going to go ahead and just say this is a Freedom Means from BunkerLabs, because it really has given us freedom to grow and expand. But Blake, you've served, you've sacrificed, you've done so much for our great nation and are still giving so much. So we ask you, what does freedom mean to you?
That's a great question. I think it means the ability to I mean, in its most simplest term, it's like upward mobility. you have the ability to pursue the things that are important to you and your family. I think we do have real challenges in this country and around the world. And I think entrepreneurship is one of the greatest freedom creating assets ever. And that's kind of I'm butchering a quote from Dr. Mike Haney at Syracuse University, who talks about that all the time. But I think it's like the ability to pursue the things that are important, the ability to have your basic needs met, the ability to worship freely, the ability to have freedom of speech. These are things that if you believe what you see in the media, and pick your news channel, right? Like it is easy to fall into that, right? But I think that entrepreneurship creates the opportunity for people to pursue the things that are important to them, and I want to play a big part in that, and I hope Bunkers is doing that. So, I want to like come back with like a better like succinct quote you can like tattoo on, because I think I'm falling short on that one. But to me, it's like, can you wake up and are you able to move forward? And if so, like then you've got like freedom of movement, which creates the ability for upward mobility, and that's where I think we solve a lot of the challenges that exist, and more importantly, create thriving leaders, right? So like if you're worried about those things, if you're worried about how you're going to take care of your family, if you're worried about are you going to be able to get an education, those like bare necessities, then it's pretty damn hard to be like, oh yeah, just lift yourself up by your bootstraps, straps, and create this tech company or create this whatever. And so yeah, I think all of us have a job to play in how we uplift people as entrepreneurs and help them create their own destiny. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it with this simple like upward mobility. That's what it means to me.
No, I love it, and that's that really resonates. Being able to, like we say, show up on purpose with purpose, ready to activate your hustle, so that you have that freedom to do what you want within the confinements of the law, but do what you want, do what you're able to do, so that you can have upward mobility. Vice moving forward. Well, we don't want to just move forward. We want to progress upward. And we use it all the time. I love the way the Marines utilize, you have evolutions, and that I think that's better than moving on to the next phase, because you're evolving, you're moving forward. So I really like that.
Yeah, and I'll steal Iron Mike Stedman's, right? Lift as we climb, right? So yeah. You're moving up and you're reaching out and helping other people along the way.
And Mike Haney over, we met him over with Syracuse IVMF. Great guy. Follow him. Check him out. We met him here at AUSA when they run their event. So That's a great event. But awesome. I appreciate you being our legend this week. And if you're interested in learning more, check out BunkerLabs. And they've got a great transition podcast. I know it's great to listen to. I really appreciate everything you guys have.
Only one bad episode, I think. That was
probably my episode. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say the one about either DC or go get your first 10 customers. That is
yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure yours is pretty good too, Marty.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, Blake, I appreciate it. And we look forward to meeting up with you next time we're in Nashville. So
awesome. Love it. Thanks, all.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being our legend. Great episode.
Before you cut off, I got to point out a couple facts. These are facts, right? Not statements, facts. Facts. 3 people from Raleigh tuned in live. Simon, Marcella, or Mary Angela, and Nacella. And then not only that, we had 1 from Utah. How many folks from DC on here right now?
It's because they're busy working. They're growing their business.
Oh, you got me.
But hey, I appreciate everybody and all the Raleigh people. We ask if you guys enjoy this, please check out BunkerLabs, and then also head over to Lounge with Legends and give us a like and subscribe. Leave the comments. It really helps us and all the legends that we have on the show raise awareness and also help us with our transition and transformation from battlefield to business. And then next week we've done Navy, we've done Army. Now it's time to go to where the real professionals are. We're going Army. So we got Andy coming on. He's going to talk about the other side of the challenge that they have with Warrior Rising and Jason Van Camp's team at the 70.3 half Ironman in Waco, Texas. So this is going to be awesome. And then after that, we've got Air Force Academy, another triathlete coming on. So it's going to be absolutely amazing.
That's right. Army singing second. Can't wait.
Dude, absolutely. So thanks for tuning in, and be legendary.
You've been watching the Lounge with Legends show, countering the narrative that veterans are all broken misfit toys. Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom. Serving in harsh situations, coupled with their training, have forged them into some of the most resilient and capable leaders in the world. And that's where we come in, celebrating the success stories, taking you on a journey of transformation from military to business. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. But find us on Facebook at Lounge with Legend or at JTF214. Till next time.